So I've been relegated to having instant coffee because I left my grinder and beans in Durban. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Just a little bit weird. Also, how cute is this cup, right? My girlfriend got it for me. It's really awesome. Right. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. I am with Dikwa. Thank you for stopping by once again. I've been away for a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe like 2-3 weeks, nothing crazy. But before I get into this video, I went on a hike with some friends and here's the video.
I never knew that you would. And after all, we all grow up. But I stayed here and you don't give a fuck. Yeah, living it up. Please just stay the same. I hate to see you change, but you think you need to find yourself out with something that's missing. I'm just kicking back. I'll wait here for you to figure out just what life is to you now. You're out there, just chasing tails. You know that I got just what you want, what you need now. Don't you need?
Where you at? Painting Goat Expedition, man.
Every holiday you come home stressed, but I'll make you feel like you had never left. Feels like you never left. So maybe this time you will see it's comfort always coming back to me. It's always been me. Please just stay the same. I hate to see you change, but you think you need to find yourself out with something that's missing. I'm just kicking back. I'll wait here for you to figure out just what life is to you now.
So, this video, I want to talk about a past project, and I want to talk about it because I am going to be working on something new, right? I'm going to be talking about a project of mine that was called Can We Start Over? Yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. So I just want to talk about it, nothing really in depth again, but I want to talk about this project because I'm working on something new currently. It's kind of why I've sort of disappeared, but it's 2 weeks. But yeah, I have a project coming up that I'm working on, so you will probably see the behind the scenes of it. I am doing something very sci-fi like. I'm really excited. I've never done something with special effects like that, so we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited. I can't obviously say anything about it like right now because everything is still a mess, but when things start to come together, you will definitely see it. But without any further ado, let's get into Can We Start Over? So what inspired this music montage was, funny enough, another music montage where it's called The Watchtower of Turkey, whereby these filmmakers, or this filmmaker and his crew, basically travel around different countries and shoot for, I don't know how many days, but it's a lot. I think 20 or 40, I don't remember, somewhere there, right? And they shoot as much as they possibly can, and they make this really awesome montage with the clips that they have gathered during their travels of whatever country that they're in when they were shooting, right? And I've never seen film like that. I mean, obviously when you think about montages, you think about like the fighting montage, you know, the dun, 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 in like boxing films, or you know, maybe in a rom-com where the guy realizes that the girl was the right one, and you know, finally he like runs after her, and it's a whole montage, right? So I always thought that montages were something that were an accessory to a film, but not necessarily things that could exist on their own. So Can We Start Over was my first ever music montage because I wanted to see if I could have something of a narrative story without dialogue, so to speak, you know? So it was also really interesting because I think throughout the whole process, I was just really scared of doing it for a couple of reasons, right? Okay, this might be a long video, just heads up. So get your coffee too and chill, right? So one, I had 3 days to shoot it. Long story, but I had 3 days to shoot it, but I'd already done the planning before I had to start shooting, right? So I had 3 major scenes. There were the scenes at the beach, there were scenes at the studio, and then there were scenes at the house, right? So what I did was I wanted to see if I could create a narrative with just visuals, you know, and see if there can be a story there and if people would get it, you know, because again, I've never done a montage and I hadn't really seen montages existing outside of scenes in films or in between 2 major scenes in films, or you know, the turning point and all of that. So I'd never seen that happen, so I was very apprehensive about doing it, but I really was keen to do it, and at some point I was really excited. I think I got to experiment quite a lot with this project, so it was really interesting to also see how far I've come as a filmmaker and just, you know, put out some really nice content, right? So it was inspired by that montage that I've seen, but also relationships, because relationships. Okay, don't let my little expression make you think I have beef with relationships. I'm in a very happy one, you know. But it was inspired by, you know, relationships, because for a long time a lot of the stuff that I wrote were always about heartbreak or some sort of hardships in relationships. I think for a very long time it was my style, you know. I was, you know, sometimes referred to as a broken-hearted poet, and reason being, a lot of the times my work was always about relationships, right? And I think with this project in particular, it kind of represents my growth, because when I started writing about, you know, heartbreak and all of these things, it was always very one-dimensional, like, you did this, or you hurt me, and this happened, and oh my god, and you know what I mean? That's how a lot of my work in regards to heartbreak was. And then with this project, I did something a little bit different. So the reason why I called it Can We Start Over is because it represents, I don't know if I can say it represents relationships or heartbreak, but it represents one of those moments where you're with somebody and it's absolutely great and amazing and it's just everything you've ever wanted, right? and then something happens, there's a fight or just something really, 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 really big happens, and everything just gets destroyed. And by the time the fight is over, you both don't know what the fight was about. You just know that whatever this was just ended, and you're just like, whoa, can we start over? You know what I mean? Because I think around that time, that's when it happened to me for the first time, that it kind of, I don't know, it was a sort of learning curve or a moment of growth for me, in the sense that a lot of the times we can't pin heartbreak on a certain person or a certain experience or this, or it's either me or you. Sometimes I feel like you just don't know. You know what I mean? Like it just happens, and you don't know what the hell happened. You just know that whatever it is, it just ended. So that's what the montage was about. So the first part just shows these two people at the beach, kind of sort of just having a conversation together. Obviously it's very somber at the time, and then you kind of see them happy and smiling and all of that stuff, and then you see them fight, and then finally you see the breaking point of the relationship, and the guy's alone at the beach. And then from there, just a matter of how I creatively put together those shots along with the music and sound effects and all that stuff. There's actually a lot of sound effects in that film. And I remember being so mad when I was graded on it, because it was also a school project, and I didn't get really high marks for sound, because unfortunately the sound effects were so realistic that they thought that all of the sounds, or majority of the sounds, came as part of the song, or they were sounds I ripped from the source footage of the actual clips. But I think 80% of the sounds in that montage are part of the sound design that I put together. But anyway, I am not mad at it. I still won some awards. But yeah, so in terms of creativity, I think I wanted to experiment with lighting, because you see, being a broke filmmaker, right, or being an independent filmmaker, it's a very long journey before you get to work with lights and all this sorts of kinds of equipment and this and that and this and that. And yeah, it's really, 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 really hectic. So what I wanted to do was, for the parts that sort of represent how they feel, or just the parts that represent the emotions, I wanted to make them very colorful and somewhat surreal. And I think around the time that I shot it, Euphoria had just come out, and then I was like, oh, I want to try that, because also I'd never really done much with lights. So I figured, okay, this will be a very interesting experiment to see how far I've gotten in terms of using lights creatively in a film, right? So with the colors, what I did was I had a couple studio lights. We were actually shooting in a studio. So obviously, me being me, I want to have a very 3D sort of kind of lighting aesthetic. So what I did was, with the colorful scenes, I had a curtain of tinsel and fairy lights. Like, I can't remember how much I spent on fairy lights. I spent close to 1,000 on fairy lights and tinsel, just so that I can create a curtain as a backdrop behind the actors, and then put a light behind that curtain, so that you get that nice little shimmering thing with the tinsel and fairy lights. And then I had a key light this side and a fill light this side. The key light had the blue because it really absorbs a lot of light, so I had to have my strongest light with a blue gel, and then I put a red gel on my fill light, and then it all came together really awesome. So that worked out pretty well. And then the other thing that I did was, around the time that I shot it, that's when I had ordered my Helios lens. I spoke about it a little bit in the first or second video, I think. So that was the first time using a manual lens, but I liked how soft it made the image and the shots that it gave me. So yeah, no, that lens, listen, all time favorite, right? And then I think what else did I do? Oh, right. And then at the beach, right, with the beach shots, I shot most of the montage on a Ronin. I think I just bought my Ronin at the time, so I was really excited to use it. However, warning, if you're gonna use a Ronin at the beach to get low angle shots, be careful. It got splashed with water and it's never been the same since. I mean, it still works, don't get me wrong, but yeah, salt water and gimbals do not mix at all. They don't mix. So I remember being kind of depressed for a little bit there because I thought, oh my god, I just killed my Ronin mid-shoot, and that was the thing that I was going to be shooting on majority of the time. So that was really scary, but thankfully it worked out. And then with the hallway bits, I used a smoke machine. So I basically hazed up the entire hallway so that I can get enough natural light to give me a really nice light texture. So another tip is, do not sleep on location recce's. So location recce's is just basically where you go to the location, check it out, know where the sun sets and rises from, all of that crazy stuff, like how the sun basically moves around that particular area, and then you then know how to shoot accordingly. So with the hallway, because it's very high up, it's about 2 stories up, I obviously can't have lights on a stand, and this is a student production, so I can't even have some sort of, you know, contraption just holding the light up 2 stories high. So what I just did was I noticed that, okay, at around 4 o'clock the sun sets on that end where the windows are. So we got there at around 3 o'clock to haze up the whole hallway, and then after hazing it up, then obviously at 4 o'clock that's when the sun came through and you got like a really nice lighting texture. But yeah, it was a really interesting thing to work on. It was a really interesting thing to work on. I can't wait to shoot my next montage. So with Can We Start Over, that was just my first time trying out montages because I didn't know how good or bad I'd be at them. But I think it worked out pretty well, and now I can actually shoot the montage that I've always wanted to shoot. So I can't wait to show you that too. It's gonna be really big, trust me. It's gonna be really huge. But yeah, that's it with the montage. That's with the Can We Start Over in terms of how I shot it and, you know, the philosophy behind it. Yeah, it was really interesting because I don't think I had ever seen myself depicting heartbreak in that way, because I swear one day you guys will get to hear my poems and you'll just be like, what happened? Who broke this kid's heart? But yeah, that was the whole thing. That was the whole montage. And this weekend, actually, I'm going to be at the Roof of Africa. I've shot it a couple of times. I don't think I will shoot it, but I will give you guys a vlog. I think it'll be really fun because I kind of don't want to shoot it, but also I kind of want to have really awesome footage. So we'll see how we balance it out. Truly, we will see how we balance it out. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for stopping by once again. I am Mutikwa. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Till next time, catch you later.